Raymond. Oh,
You know what it is. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Get established. Let's go.
This is the Get Established Show Live, where we're all about awareness and support of our community, building within and beyond. My name is Shine, and I'm here with my brothers, Chilla, D. Jones. Please like, share, and subscribe, and smash that like button as always. A link will be provided in the chat, so you can join in the conversation, or if you choose, comment in the chat. All right. Of course, our disclaimer: the individual opinions expressed on here do not reflect the show as a whole and the goal of joining in and supporting our community. So with that said, D. Jones.
What's up, fellas? What's going on?
What it is, my brother?
not much, man.
It ain't Happy Damn Father's Day this week.
It's Happy Damn Dirk's Day this week.
Yes, my brother. It was birthday weekend for the birthday boy.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. 21st himself.
Yeah. It was a birthday weekend, man. Blessed to see another year. It was a good day. I relaxed most of the day. Had dinner with friends and family. It was a good thing, man. It was a good thing. It's always a good thing when people come together and celebrate you. You know, you really don't understand how you impact people's lives until you see it in front of you, you know, and fortunately I've been blessed to be around a good group of people. So yeah, it was a good day, man. It was a good day.
You know, I'm still waiting for you to show me that good time there, buddy. You know.
Yeah. You know, unfortunately, I probably could share some videos to show y'all how to celebrate your birthday, man.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be looking forward to when we get off.
Absolutely, man.
Mm-hmm.
But how was y'all weekend?
It was fair, man. Just chilling, relaxing, man. That was all I did.
Well, you know, my brother got a birthday coming up too. It ain't that far away. You know,
mine's creeping up around the corner.
Old man to be an older man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One thing's for sure. No matter how older I get, I can't catch him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't catch him.
I'm still looking younger, man. Just grow out a little gray, but I'm still looking younger.
Oh, is that what it is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
If I shade of gray, I still look younger, man.
I ain't mad, man. I ain't mad at all. You know. So I guess we'll jump right into the show, man. Today's show is titled "Are Our Minds Compromised?" This episode is discussed for the screen of lies the people have been fed through misleading media, including confused identities and inaccurate historical narratives. How about that? So let's jump right into it. This first question is pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure that Chilla will get a kick out of this. What are your thoughts on the AIDS epidemic, and have you heard of the green monkey?
The funny thing is when they first came out in 1985 with the these specialists talking about where AIDS came from. The rumor was, and they was on TV talking about it came from a green monkey. And back then we didn't question it because everybody's scared because they're hearing all this, things about AIDS. But just now, when you get older and you start thinking different, you know what I'm saying? You realize, when in the hell have you ever seen a green monkey? I'm pretty sure a green monkey would be on display in the zoo, but it came from Africa always, and it was from a green monkey. Then later they changed the narrative that it came from a monkey, but at first they said a green monkey. And the fear when it started and it hit, it started like around in different places, and they had one patient, I think was called patient zero. The ironic thing about that, when I was looking it up again, was patient zero supposedly had these, he was a gay gentleman, but he supposedly had 70 different persons he had infected or been with, supposedly, and he remember all 70 people, and they was the first ones supposed to started when the spreading started of the AIDS epidemic. And the funny thing, like, back then so many people was in fear of AIDS that even if somebody got in a pool and you thought they had AIDS or was rumor, you would jump out the pool, and people were just terrified. They didn't want to be around them. They didn't want to talk to them. They didn't want to be close to them. Then Magic come out, we playing basketball, everybody looking hysterical at it. Today, it's not even a big problem, but the fear of the AIDS at the time, you know what I'm saying, thinking that somebody had it, and that people were kind catching it. It was like, wow. But just to hear somebody telling you first before they change the narrative, or if my looking at it is this: if you wasn't sure, why would you just come out and say it came from some green monkeys? Just say we don't know, we still investigating, we doing research, we going here, we doing all different tests, but they just came out, it came from some green monkeys, and people just like, scared to death. So it was just wild when you got the media telling you, then these supposed to be specialists that we're looking at on TV, supposed to did the research, supposed to know all the information. It came from a green monkey, and it just wild.
Well, one of the things that tripped me out is, if you got a 70 person body count, I don't know about y'all, but for me, I can't keep that type of score.
That's a hell of a memory, boy.
Yeah,
I'm talking about, right? For real, boy.
Goodness gracious.
You know what I'm saying? Man, that's crazy. That really
your shooter might fall off doing that much work.
Let's call it this: instead of kicking ass, he was taking ass.
Oh my gosh! Hey, well, one other thing about that though, they do say those so-called green monkeys. Some of them, their species migrated to Florida.
Hey, man,
just let you know.
Man, I'm telling you, man, what even now, if I see a green monkey, I'm getting the hell on. Hey,
man, the only way you will see a green monkey is somebody died of green, just like they used to do poodles, dyed pink or blue. You got died.
I don't give a damn if they dye them or what. If I see a green monkey, I'm making a U-turn and I'm gone.
I like you seeing a green UFO. He was an alligator. He was green.
Hey man. Yeah. I ain't never seen no green monkey. Imagine a green monkey eating a green banana. I'm getting the hell on. Hey, you know what's interesting though, man? And I don't know if either one of you all know this, but if you think about it, every president has a issue that they deal with. And I remember Reagan dealing with the war on drugs. That was his whole thing, the war on drugs. So I'm not sure, because I was young at the time and I hadn't done any research. When the AIDS epidemic hit strong in the United States and that story first dropped, was that under the Carter administration? Do we know?
Really, it started coming out heavily under. It might started at the end of Carter, like in the late 70s, but we really
so Nixon. It was actually under the Nixon administration when it first started.
Okay.
And I say that because if you think about it, why is it every president we have, there's an agenda that they're talking about? I mean, I just thought about it just then. Every president has something that they deal with. And it's crazy. Like the first Trump administration was surrounded by COVID. And if you go back to Obama, he dealt with Ebola. What was it? Ebola.
Yeah, each one of them did with some, but like the correction of it, it said basically.
Yeah, Bush Jr. We already know what he dealt with. So it's just amazing that it's an agenda. Actually, the AIDS epidemic began during the presidency of Ronald Reagan. So Ronald Reagan, and he ran 2 terms. So that was actually under his administration. The first case of AIDS was known. The first case would become known as AIDS was identified in 1981. So if that's the case, go ahead, Chris.
No, you say so. If that's the case, finish what you're saying. I just want to add one thing.
No. I'm finished. No, go ahead.
But this is the thing. Like even with that and during that pandemic of AIDS, what it was going on, I'm gonna call it you would call it epidemic. It's a movie right now and it's out and it's very interesting. It's with Matthew McConaughey. It's called Dallas Buyers Club. It's based on a true story. It's based on a gentleman who did contract the AIDS in the 80s. And they told him, basically he was going to die. And he just to sum it up, he went to Mexico. He had like 30 months to live or something. And he was real sick and getting skinny and he couldn't, and he collapsed when he got over there in Mexico. When he woke up, it was a doctor who was giving him some meds. And the meds were basically just something to build up his immune system. And he was like, why didn't I have this in America? He said, I was giving this in America, but they had banned him and took his license. So that's why he was over there in Mexico. But you need to watch this story because what he did, he started taking these same meds that he got from over there in Mexico and brought them back and opened this club because he couldn't sell it. So what the people would do, they would buy into this club so they can get all the meds they want free. And the thing was everybody who had AIDS at this day and time who was taking these meds wasn't sick no more. And they was like living normal. The meds kept their immune systems up so they couldn't catch a common cold. They was walking around normal. And all the doctors who had these certain patients in this location was trying to figure out why the patients ain't here no more because they were just dying as they were taking the medicine from the hospital. But when they started taking these meds, the FDA and everything came in, they confiscated all the meds from them, and they forced them to go back into the hospital. Now, the crazy thing was, and you need to watch this movie, Dallas Buyers Club with Matthew McConaughey, and explain everything they was doing and how these people were living normal lives all of a sudden. But when they got back in the hospital, they started dying again. Just for those that never watched that movie, and it tells a great story during the epidemic of AIDS, how people was taking these meds that they had, and the FDA banned this type of medicine. It was just regular, like herbs and stuff that was helping their body, but it was banned in America, so they couldn't take it. You need to watch the movie; it's very interesting.
So. That's interesting. Because I think we'll go, Sean. Before I bring this point up, you had something that you want to address with that.
I'm gonna go through this just a list of just the academics per presidency. Ronald Reagan, of course, the HIV/AIDS. While the AIDS epidemic began in the early '80s, Reagan administration formed a commission in 1987 to address it. His administration's initial response faced criticism. George H.W. Bush, the first, and HIV/AIDS, he signed the Ryan White Care Act, providing financial aid for AIDS patients in hospitals. George W. Bush and HIV/AIDS, he created the PEPFAR in 2003, a significant global health program for a single disease. And of course, Barack Obama, he was dealing with the H1N1, Ebola, and Zika. And our current president, during his first term, he dealt with the COVID-19.
So there's always been some type of, I want to say, warfare on as far
biological
warfare as far as health. And the thing is, like I said, it seems like every president dealt with something. In my mind, and this is in my opinion, as Raymond stated in the beginning of the show, it's too much of a coincidence. It just is. And the thing I wanted to address, as a kid, I grew up and I was a Lakers fan, big Lakers fan.
Still is.
And yeah, I am. And one of my heroes came out and said that he was positive for HIV. Now, like Chris was stating, it was still pretty new to the world at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't want y'all to take this and run with it. I'm not saying that Magic didn't contract the disease. All I'm saying is he seems to be pretty healthy. The people that contracted the disease around the time that he did, a lot of them, it turned into AIDS and they died from it. Now, understanding all of that, Magic probably had more resources, not probably, had more resources than the commoners. But with that being said, do you think that was a ploy to address the AIDS epidemic, and he was like the face of AIDS at that time? Well, we know he was the face of HIV at that time, but do you think that was all to mislead the public?
It's rumors that I don't know how true it is. Allegedly, we always got to use that word, that Michael Jordan was one of the first persons they went to, stating that. It's just, that's a rumor I always heard, and he said no. Then he went to Magic, and Magic took it, and he got some perks off the situation. And as you can see now, Magic is one of the financially wealthy NBA players. What's going on right now? But I mean, it's just allegedly rumors.
And that's crazy though, man. I mean, it's crazy that like I said, it becomes a situation where it's difficult to know what is true and what is not, because we're fed so much. And the thing about a lot of people is, as soon as that rumor dropped, not rumor, I'm sorry, it wasn't a rumor. As soon as it came out that Magic had HIV, the jokes came. People ran with it. Players didn't want them playing. Remember, they protested and didn't want them playing basketball anymore. And it was real funny how 1 minute they ain't want him playing, and the next minute he's kissing Isaiah Thomas on the cheek. You know what I'm saying? So
well, let me
but go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I was gonna read a comment from Chevy Chick, excuse me. Sorry.
All right.
She responded to your question. Definitely.
Got it, man. It's just interesting that it's like this repeats every president. Something repeat. It's always something, man. It's just crazy. But I'm gonna jump into the next question. It kind of aligns to what we're talking about. How do you feel about Dr. Sebi's healing and winning his court case in 1987?
I think it was wonderful. Only if I knew that had happened in 1987. It didn't get no media attention. It wasn't all over CNN. It wasn't all over whatever news thing, Fox News, NBA, NBC News, or whatever. We didn't get the Dr. Sebi beat the system like OJ did trial all over the media at that day and time. They kept it hush, hush. And, later on, when you find that so many people have been trying to make documentaries on that moment, that a lot of people just like even Nick Cannon. First, you got Nipsey Hussle died. Nick Cannon promised, I'm going to pick up the torch and I'm going to make this come out. That was just right before COVID really blew up. And next thing you know, they got Nick Cannon for saying this, and they snatched his show away from him, endorsements away from him, and this and that. And Nick Cannon went zip and didn't do nothing else about that. And it's a
Chris. Before you go in, tell everybody who Dr. Sebi is, so for the people that may not know.
Yeah, Dr. Sebi is a herbalist back in the days that has cured a lot of people. I was going to get into that. When he did the court case, he was going around telling people he could cure AIDS, lupus, cancer, herpes, diabetes, everything. And the system came after him for doing what you call it now, what you was practicing, what you call it, practicing what medicine. He wasn't supposed to be practicing
because
Right.
he wasn't a medical a medical
practicing
doctor.
He
professional.
wasn't a medical doctor, and they took him to court and they asked him to at least present 9 people with documents stating that he had cured all these different symptoms. The ironic thing was over 72 people came to court with their doctors in their medical records showing that they was positive HIV, they had lupus, they had AIDS, they had cancer, they had all these diseases. And he was in the Supreme Court and he had all these diseases. All the doctors were behind them stating they had these diseases and it was gone. And the case was dismissed. He beat the court system, basically going around telling he has cured, because we cannot. And in America, you cannot use the cure word. It is forbidden to ever say we treat it, but we can't say we cure anything in America. Dr. Sabi was going around saying he cured something, and they took him to court, and he beat the system.
You know what's crazy, man?
Let me say this.
Go ahead, Sean.
If you want to know, Left Eye was one of his patients, at the time when she was living. So, if you want to look up any information on that, and I'm going to provide a link in here in the comments. But yeah, she was one of patients of his.
And yeah, again, this was in 1987 when he beat the system. Now, AIDS was coming out in 81, and he had mad patients with AIDS that he cured in cancer and diabetes and herpes and lupus and every disease you can name, he cured back in them days, all the way to 2019 when he got passed away. A lot of conspiracy people
like you said, he got passed away. I like the way you said
it. He got passed away. I ain't gonna say he passed away. He got passed away, and we feel like he was murdered because it's too coincidental. Right before COVID, they made sure he wasn't breathing. And whatever you want to say, I think in my mind that 9 times out of 10
let me ask y'all this. Do y'all remember what year the Rodney King beating was?
Was it 91,
91, 91, 90 or 91.
So the only reason I brought that up, because it seems like all these things, OJ, Rodney King, these things made news, like world news. And man, I'm almost ashamed to say I didn't know about Sabi's case until I was grown, man.
That's all of us, yeah.
And that's crazy. Like, he went up against pretty much the United States, and I didn't know anything about it. Now you talking about something to celebrate? We celebrating OJ. That's something to celebrate, man. That's something to celebrate. This black man.
And again, I just want to say 1987 didn't get no recognition. 1987. And all I could think from then, all the people had these diseases who perished. But this man has proven and cured these problems. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, man. I mean, the things they feed us, man. I mean, it as a whole, and the things that we need to know, we can't even find out about. We find out about them, but it's after the fact. Just imagine having that knowledge in 1987, kids being born, people with diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, having heart issues, kidney issues, because I've been in the medical field since 1993, and in the division that I work in with people with kidney disease. There were quite a few patients that had kidney disease in the early 90s when I started, but there are even more now. And the reason I bring that up is because if we had the knowledge back then that we have now, imagine how woke we will be about our health. You know, and I'm not saying everybody would have bought into that. Trust me. You know, you could take the camel to water, but you can't make them drink. And I understand that. I get that. But the thing that I've struggled with in our community is we didn't have this information. It's kind of like, you know, your kids go to school and the old school way is you're taught to go to school, make good grades, go to college and get a job. We're finding out now that may not be the best route for everybody. But once again, it's certain information that we lack. So when it comes to these things, it's amazing what media is pumping out and leading us to believe, because if you think about it, if you try to go against Big Pharma and you say something about naturopathic medicine versus modern day medicine, it's people that will argue you down. And they argue you down while they on oxygen, why they taking high blood pressure medicine, why they taking a shot every day for diabetes, why they getting their foot amputated, why they doing radiation and chemo for cancer. They argue you down, and yet they're getting closer to the grave than further away. And then not only just older people dealing with this, we're finding out now people are getting younger and younger, and they're dealing with these health issues. That is just amazing to me that we still don't question what Big Pharma is telling us.
True that. True.
That's powerful. So we're gonna switch gears a little bit. And no, we're not conspiracy theorists. Well, we are, but we're not. Yeah. All right, I just throw that out there. These are our opinions. Once again, like Sean's shared, this is our opinions. Okay.
I'm just a brother. I'm just brother hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. What are your thoughts? Ooh, this is a good one. What are your thoughts of September 11th and the concealed reality of terrorism and Osama bin Laden? I know Chris. Woo, boy, look at his face, boy.
Well, you know, I mean, it's a lot of evidence now that, you know, 9/11 was orchestrated by here. It's I mean, some people will fuss because, you know, we got this going on, but the way the buildings came down, it was, you know, boom, 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 explosions. People even can show the footages if you catch it. There's a lot of people, if you watch documentaries, you got people who do demolitions. They tell you that this is how the buildings came down. They'll tell you the gases in them planes could not burn through all that concrete, could not burn through all them steel beams. It's other planes like that on crashing buildings that wasn't even built as good as those two twin towers, and they still didn't go down like that. Is impossible. But, you know, we watching televisions and whatever, they tell you, we take it into consideration. I feel sad for all the people who perished in that, because I know for a fact it's situations where gold was under them buildings. It's situations that Bush brother was the security that he resigned. It's situations that this man, I don't know if he took $1 billion insurance policy on them buildings just a week before this happened. All this evidence is out there. You can do the research and look it up. So I don't believe in coincidence, and the FBI don't believe in coincidence. It's just that when you see certain things, it's always more to the story than what they telling us. And on the TV, they painted their narrative. And like I said, my hearts went out to the people who perished in that situation, but it's more to the story. If you just look, and you will see that some stuff don't add up.
Yeah, I say this. My my heart goes out to those that perish as well. But speaking on the jet fuel and all that, boy, it's a hell of a kind of jet fuel to be able to ignite and burn through concrete and steel and melt all that stuff at one time and just all collapse.
No, Raymond. The fuse was so powerful. It was a third building that never got touched. The fuse was so strong, the little juices jumped on that building and made that building all of a sudden collapse.
That's like wiping sweat off you.
The third building never even had a plane, and that just collapsed from all that. All the juices jumped off the other. That's how powerful the juices on them other planes was.
Hey man,
it can make sense. I mean, people don't question nothing because They give you the idea of what to think on the media. Why did the third building go down that didn't no planes crash into?
Well, first of all, I want everybody that's listening to this show to go back and pull up the video of Bush Jr. when he got the news. I want you to look at his face. He reading a book to an elementary school class.
Right.
And I want you to look at this man's face and his reaction. That man nodded his head and went back to read. Come on, man. The president of the free world just found out that American soil has been attacked. And he went back to reading to the kids, man. And I'm talking about it don't get no better than that, man.
But look, this is the funny thing, and me and Raymond always talked about this. You know, we went to war. Okay, we was looking for bin Laden. You know, we supposedly did a little bit of searching for him, so we did go right there for bin Laden. So, but the funny thing is, what was it? 8 months later, was it a year? Was it a year or something? A year and some months, a year and 2 months, something like that. We went to war over Iraq, and we had problems with Saddam. First, we were supposed to be looking for weapons of mass destruction, and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, I don't know. We might got a question going there, but the thing was, we took our time looking for bin Laden, but we went right to war with somebody else, and they didn't have weapons of mass destruction. I just leave it like that. People can come up with their own concepts and thinking what it's about. Because I'm a conspiracy person, you know, when I talk, most people say, you're a conspiracy. You know, it was all about gas and oil power. So, but I mean, that's just me looking at it from my stand of view. Oh, man, we over there for what? What they got over there? They got poppy seeds? Oh, Korea had poppy. Oh, they got oil? Oh, they got plenty of oil? Oh, what? Oh, first time Saddam lit the oils on fire so Bush Sr. couldn't get it? Oh, the second time the son Jr. went over there? Oh, we went to war again? And he said he killed his dad? Oh, he tried to attempt to kill his dad? Now we're going to war? Oh, they didn't have mass destruction weapons? Oh, my gosh, so what's over there? Or, makes sense. And then we built some pipelines and got more oil. But
it's crazy it's crazy how they switch gears, man. They switch gears. Osama bin Laden no longer talked about Saddam Hussein. They found him hiding. According to the news, they found him. I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not funny. In the ditches, hiding in the trenches.
Pakistan.
Yeah. You know, it's just crazy how the narrative changed. Now, I want you to picture this, man. Somebody take a piece of paper and hold it tight. Move your head out the way now. And somebody else take a rock about this size and throw it and see if the paper disintegrates when the rock hits the paper. Tell me what happened. I want you to share with me what happens to that paper when that rock hits it. If the whole piece of paper disintegrates when the rock hits it. I just want to know.
My thing is, you know, to tell the public, you know, why we going to war. Your second reason for telling is he tried to kill my daddy. What the?
Well, it was rumored that bin Laden had contracts over here, construction contracts over here, and they, you know, he apparently he was doing a lot of business with the United States. Now that doesn't mean that, you know, he didn't plot to attack the United States. I'm just saying.
Right.
And I mean, it was rumored
with Bush.
It was rumored that the families were actually friends.
Yeah, his family was with Bush when all this happened, and the Bushes and the government helped get the family out of America when this happened.
Crazy, man. It's crazy.
I don't even want to go into another one that is stated and they already showed, but I ain't even got that information right now, that even when they used bin Laden's name, it was already in some records that he had already passed away.
All I'm saying is Iron Man 3. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, Iron Man 3. They really tell you in your face. If you watch the movie Iron Man 3, and it's a dude, they supposed to be like, you know, bin Laden. Now, you know, some people caught on to it. And when Iron Man came in, they said, I'm just an actor. I ain't got to, you know, all that. So just watch Iron Man 3.
Even if you ain't a Marvel fan.
Just watch Iron Man 3. It's like they throw it in your face and laughing at you at the same time.
Remember, movies tell you a lot. Just pay attention.
Movies tell you a lot. Fahrenheit 9/11.
Yeah.
Loose
Loose
change.
change. Loose change. Check it out if you never checked it out. Loose change. Check that documentary out. Again, Loose Change. Check out the documentary.
Man. It's crazy. All right. So, hey, this is another one. I talk about this all the time. I remember talking about this as a kid and a teenager, man. It didn't resonate with me. Do you believe astronauts really landed on the moon? And if so, why haven't they been back?
Do you want me to start off with it?
Oh, yeah, man. Go ahead. Jump right into it, sir.
Excuse
we ain't got to play no game.
Excuse my French. Hell no, they ain't been in no moon, man. Y'all still in elementary school, man. For real, you believe they went to the moon? I mean, I know they did. They had the best Steven Spielberg in that time, and they had the best cameras, and you saw them go up, and then it landed on the moon. But the first question is, who was the person on the moon with the camera when the thing came down filming? Then who was the person on the moon who filmed them leaving and had the camera going up with them? Who was that person? Go back and look at the footage. Who was that person? And we keep getting into this bull stuff that they doing. I'm telling them, like, they talking about the world is spinning around. We got people saying, and I believe we on a flat plane. I mean, I go by the Bible, four corners, you know. I believe in the firmament. I don't care what the NASA tell y'all, believe the bull crap. We on a flat plane. And the reason I know we on a flat plane, and I can end this whole debunk real quick, and so many people, oh, you're stupid. Okay, when you look up in the sky every night, if we spinning 3 million miles an hour around the sun, how come the constellations are still in the same spot? How come you can see the Big Dipper and everything? How come they not moving? How come they sit still night after night after night? Better yet, if we're doing everything they said NASA's telling you, how come you never seen the eclipse with the Mercury and Venus in front of it? Better yet, since the sun is so big, like they say, and so powerful, how in the world that the sun rays can part our clouds, just part them like this, whoosh, and light all us up together, but it's still darkness all around space? I can't put a light bulb way off it and light up my house and open my windows, and that light gonna give me light through my whole house.
So Chris, the question was, do you believe astronauts?
The moon. But I just throwing some extra stuff out there. I just do some extra stuff. That's it.
Yeah, I got you.
But no, I don't believe it. No, I don't believe, because they what they said, they lost the technology. That's why they ain't went back. You can look that up. They said we used to have the technology, but we destroyed the technology. They destroyed most of the footages. They destroyed everything. You can't even find a lot of the stuff, props of what they had back in when they first went up in 1968, 69, 70, 71, and they ain't been back up there since.
So they also said shadows in the moon landing photos proved the images were fake.
Yeah. But when we grew up, we was groomed. Man, you was born into it. So when they tell you this, you don't question. We don't question it. We don't question it. It was believable because you think these experts, a lot of things we never question. They put these thoughts and ideas in our head. So if you growing up believing what they telling you, you'll never question it. But when you start talking to certain people and the cartwheels and start spinning in your head and you start thinking instead of listening to everything, that's why I say question everything. So, if you don't question nothing, you don't know nothing.
So the moon landing was what, 69? In 1969, 68, somewhere around that. That's when they landed on the moon.
Armstrong and them.
Yeah. So when I found out about it, I was a little different because I was that kid. You know, I remember being in church and the pastor talking about Adam and Eve. And I remember asking my pastor after church, well, where did the dinosaurs come from? I was that kid. I was that kid. So I say all that to say, when they said that, my first question was, why haven't we been back? That was my first question. As a kid, I was like, why we ain't been back? If that is the case, why we ain't been back?
They say, well, let me just go by what they say so we can have a full, spectrum of commentary about it. They say that a lack of funding to NASA is why they weren't able to provide the the necessary equipment and time spent to do that.
Well, why ain't no other country been?
Bruh, you already know.
You know, that's the whole thing. Like, I hear what you're saying, but so they say the man was on the moon in 1972 also. So we've been to the moon twice, according to
I think we've
history.
been more than that, maybe 3 times. I know the last time was like 1972.
Okay.
I know we went to 60. We might did 70, 71. Then we did another one.
Yeah, I just remember the whole thing being shown on the first moon landing. And you said that the cameras were great. No, they were horrible.
They were horrible, but they had cameras already there when the thing came down landing, and they did all the jumping and everything. Then they got on the ship, and we don't know where they straight on the ground. It was no, you know how if a powerful jet come down on the ground, there's gonna be some Bravo in a circle. There was no Bravo in a circle when it landed. Even when it went up, there was no Bravo in a circle. All you saw was going back up, and the camera. Somebody had a camera there, but you got to realize. Just having a phone right here in certain places that the signal was terrible, but the cameras was so strong we can get footage back. And then it's a case, if you think I'm lying, Nixon picks up the phone on the phone, one of them old phones to spin. I may you had the buttons and
Rotary.
call and talk to them way out there. Talk to them. He has a conversation on the phone with them and talk to them and hang up the phone and hear them clearly. Look it up.
The president got a bad phone system, bro.
Satellite phone back then, man. Satellite phone.
To the
moon.
What
you talking about, man?
And talk to them.
Man,
the antenna was on top of the White House, man. Come on, man. It's a big satellite dish.
You tripping, man?
They got a big satellite dish. Y'all.
They got technology.
I'm gonna tell you, even right now, we got something going on.
They had FaceTime back then.
We got stuff right now going on with our crazy president. And I tell people, this is every day of our lives, as well as the young and restless. We got Victor playing the president. It's a soap opera. Everything y'all look at on TV. And it's a lot of drama. It's a lot of excitement. We got crisis actors. All this stuff is real.
Man,
and it's a lot. Anything like reality TV.
You mean to tell me they hire actors to get their agenda across, man?
Is people who are hired. They get like somewhere like 6,000 to 12,000. I mean, 12,000 to 6,000 to 12,000 a week. A week.
I go out there and do some acting, man.
What's up? Like crises are going on, like terrorist bombings, somebody shooting in the mall. It's crisis actors. Look them up.
That's insane, man. Insane.
Don't go to the interview, man. You ain't getting paid much, man.
Man,
don't go to the interview.
You tripping?
If you broke and you can lie real good, and you got a real good gift of gab, you might need to consider becoming a crisis actor.
That's a part-time job.
You will make more money than
don't pay benefits.
So what you trying to tell me is locally. What you trying to tell me? The Boston bombing, there may have been a couple of crisis actors in that.
They saying there's a lot of crisis actors in a lot of these places. The Boston, Sunny Hooks and stuff. All these different places is speculation that it's crisis actors. I have at first looked at a few of them. A lot of people back then send me videos. I can't say in one of them the same lady. It looks like the same as that lady in a couple of them places that this stuff happened. Look at that, identical 1, 2, 3. You can show when people has exposed it, and then what makes it more suspicious that when people start showing it and posting it, they started scrubbing it off. The web. They start shutting down their pages. So it just kind of like feed into my file. Hey, it got some truth to it if you got to go through all that.
So okay, let's deal with something else kind of similar to that. The Challenger explosion, 1986. There have been reports that those individuals have been found. Actual have living twins with the same names. What do you think about this?
The ironic thing, I remember watching this live because our classroom was viewing this when this had happened.
I think everybody was. I
Yeah,
remember that.
so
Also.
I remember seeing it live, and I remember the reaction on my teacher. She like, "Oh my God!" Oh, she was hollering, and she was like, and I'm like in class, we just looking, and some of us always like trying to register what we just looking at, and she's screaming, "Oh God!" Just what just happened, and boom, it just exploded, and the reaction of everybody and the way it was all over the news that day, and the teacher was up there, and this and that. The ironic thing, even though when that had happened, that was trauma to a lot of people watching that happen. The space shuttle blew up on national TV. But the ironic thing, and this has been, I started seeing this like probably about almost 18 years ago. It was people. Somebody had found each one of the people, except for one person. They found the women, the teachers, the black dude, even the Chinese looking dude.
Allegedly,
they found allegedly, and 2 or 3 of them claiming they got twins. The rest of them, you can pull up the video. They show the teeth, they show everything. They got the same name. Some of them didn't even change the name. They look the same. And every time somebody walk up to them, they take off, run. They don't want to talk about it. Or they before they even ask, I know what you're gonna say. Oh, they say I look like such and such, and then they just take off. But don't nobody want to conversate on it. But allegedly, except for one, all of them have been found, and certain people have exposed them for still being alive. And I think what messed it up now is that back then we didn't have the technology, and we didn't have social media, and we didn't have Facebook, and we didn't have the internet. See, now we got all this information that we can go back and look at them and then look at the new people and see how they age. So it makes it kind of hard for somebody to fake something back then and now supposedly dead, and you got social media and you still around relevant, and you wearing the same name, and people done found you, and they showing pictures of you, and then walking on your door asking you questions, and you shutting the door, you running because you don't want to answer these questions. Then it makes it look suspicious again, and conspiracy people's telling you that it's probably some truth behind it.
Sean, you want to share what AI says about it?
All right. It says that about the crew of the Challenger, astronauts are still alive. A core belief is that the astronauts never actually died in the explosion and are still alive, with some living under their original names or similar ones, like Chris said. Proponents of this theory point to individuals who allegedly resemble the deceased astronauts and share similar names as proof.
And that's AI. That ain't us. Okay, AI. I don't know. Y'all on this AI.
It's just conspiracy. They crazy. They don't know what they talking about.
That ain't got nothing to do with us.
But so I'm gonna say this much,
man. Get established crew.
I'm gonna say this much. Some of the stuff.
Don't blame us.
Look, I'm gonna say this much. I remember in the 90s, cats used to tell me so much stuff, and I like, man, these dudes crazy, man. Ain't none of this gonna happen. Then, the 2000 came in, and everything they were saying came to pass. Like, wow. Then I remember 2000, they was telling me, man, 2020, this was gonna happen. The funny thing about the pandemic, I've been hearing dudes tell me the pandemic from 1990 all the way to 2000. They were telling me about 2020 and how we were going to shut down and how they're going to put this thing out and people, and they're going to mandate, and you laughing. And it happened. It happened. What even make it even crazier is these cards that they don't even talk about called the Illuminati cards. And everything on the Illuminati card, it came out in the late 78 and it came out in the early 90s, but it's called the Illuminati cards. And you can, if you found them, they got pictures of every disaster from the 10 towers all the way to COVID-19 to even stuff that happened, man. Everything up there on these cards, they telling you play by play, and these things come to happen. But you looking at these cards and they telling you, and we down so far. All these cards have been played, except for the last card. I think we are close to the last card, and the last card is supposed to be a president die. And then we in martial law. That's all I could tell you. And the crazy thing about the last card, the president looked like Donald Trump. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you. You can look it up for yourself. That's all I can tell you. And the cards just before the last card was 2020 pandemic. It told you the year. And it got up there, vaccination, mask, and everything on the card. And these cards first came out in 1978. Then they took them down. Then they brought them back in 92 or 93. Look it up. The Illuminati cards. And it showed the mask. It showed the vaccination. It showed the mandates. It shows all this supposed to happen. And it happened. But it's just conspiracy.
So apparently, one of the reasons for the Challenger disaster was a staged event designed to introduce a form of collective trauma across the population. Man, that's crazy. I know we getting short on time. I do want to hit one more question before we get out of here. This is interesting, and you know, if you followed the pandemic, you heard this. So this is not something we pulling out our behind. This is crazy. Have you heard about bat soup, and was it the reason for COVID-19?
Sounds delicious.
Bat soup was the first rumor they came out when they tried to push the narrative of COVID-19. It started with bat soup. What blew my mind is that they didn't go out and try to catch not one bat. All they kept saying, it came from a bat and bat soup. The story kept changing. Oh, and it's only affecting the people in the nursing home. It's only affecting the older people's in the 60s and 70s. Oh, it's affecting the 50s. Oh, it's affecting the. Oh, it's affecting the. Oh, it just kept changing and changing. Oh, and if you did the shot, but the funny thing, and I'm gonna keep telling people this, and the funny thing, he said the bat. I'm gonna let Dura read that. But the funny thing, I'm gonna say this. They can lie about the numbers on TV to cause mass hysteria, to cause fear, but they can't lie about the death certificates. There was one doctor called that out. He showed the death certificates from 2019 to 2020 to 2021 to 2023. And the funny thing was, all the deaths they were calling during the beginning of COVID was no death certificates backing it. The only death certificate rise started is like when the vaccination started. He showed you 3 months after the vaccination, the death certificate started stepping up. He showed you 6 months after the vaccination, the death certificates went up higher. He showed you a year after the vaccination, the death certificates went up way higher. So that's all I'm gonna leave it there.
Let's back up a little bit. Shine, I'm having a little glare issue over here.
I got you, because this sounds kind of interesting. Bat soup for all of us that's living here, on this side of the world where we don't go beyond squirrels and frogs. Bat soup is a dish often featuring fruit bats. That is considered a delicacy in some parts of the world. For example, Palu, Indonesia, and some parts of the Philippines. Now I say this, man, boy, fruit bat. Now I was almost tempted, because just thinking about that, almost tempted to say fruit bats, because I like my fruit myself. I almost tempted that, but I said nah. I said I go. I'll stick to my vegan diet. Go.
No, you know what's interesting though, and the reason I wanted to back up, I know Chris was getting into the death count and the death certificates. I remember the first case that was found here in the United States. I believe it was in California. And right after the first case, because I work in the medical field, it just spread it like wildfire overnight. It literally spread it like wildfire overnight. And I'm just wondering how in the hell the first case in Cali, and next week I got 3 patients here in Atlanta that have COVID.
Hey, bro. A lot of hopping, skipping, and jumping, bro.
That thing took flight like that. I'm talking about
man.
Atlanta.
Look.
LA.
Supposedly in New York, they had dead bodies laying around. They were throwing them in certain spots and containers and all that, man. I'm still like, we need to do a documentary on people saying that was my loved one in here. All they were doing was they didn't even put names to this stuff. They were just throwing numbers out there. And the ironic thing is, all the homeless people never. I worked around at the time. I was working around homeless people right there where I was working out there. They partying and drinking and smoking, playing music, doing whatever they want all day, all night long. Never got sick. Everybody on TV watching the news got sick. And the last, man. He said it was on moon. I don't know what it was, but they never got sick.
It was the moonshine.
They never got sick. But the crazy thing is, I didn't see nobody, no coroners going to people's houses, dragging them out of the house, typing it off saying they died from COVID. I didn't even see. I never even I never seen the way they were putting numbers. I was like, man, these funeral homes out here making money. Man, they should have they should have been riding every funeral. Man, they should have been up and down the streets every day or blowing a horn, passing the situation. The people just whatnot. Man, these people dying. The funeral homes weren't making that much money unless these young boys was out here killing each other.
Well, let me just say this before we.
And I'm gonna say this last. I just want to say this last thing because I know we got the end. But the funny thing is that most people who died under doctor's care. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, and that's what I wanted to say. But I don't want to be insensitive because a lot of people died, and a lot of our viewers may be dealing with family members or friends that were lost to COVID. I seen a lot being in the medical field, and we're making light of it, but it's not a joking situation. Each of these topics that we're talking about, there was a life in the balance.
Yeah.
And we understand that. I think it's unfortunate that if what we're saying, how we feel about it is true, that there was a human life that was taken in some of these events.
Yeah.
So it leads me to believe other countries terrorists, or are we living in a terrorist society? That's the thing that I think about the most. And if that's the case, how do we protect ourselves? And I often think about that. I appreciate everybody for tuning into the show today. I pray for those families that were affected by some of these events, and I don't want to make it seem like we're insensitive to that. Sean, you got something you want to share?
Yeah, I want to say, of course, this show is, when we say compromised minds, we're saying that think about what you're listening to. Think about the information that's coming in, because if you go off of first instinct, first emotion, you're going to be misled more often than not. Vet your information, vet your information to see the validity in it. And through that, then you can make a rational decision based off of all you gather and your common sense, because it's a lot of things that are out here that are really pushing the narrative, or it's narratives that they want you to be hear something and be in fear or be misled. So don't be misled by things. Vet it out.
And no matter what social media platform, news platform that you follow, make sure that you fact check for yourself. Just don't take what you hear. So many of us see things on social media or the news and we run with it. Always fact check and do your research, no matter where you hear it from. With that being said, you know what it is. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Get established.
Join us on all our social media streaming platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, the Gram, TikTok. And as always, for the fellas and our pushing producer, peace.